Someone shot the food.
Hello everybody, it is Monday, August the 24th, 2020, and welcome back to your Mr. Video Games Live Super Show Live, brought to you by Dead Sun Entertainment and also prescription sedatives because I had a root canal this morning. But anyway, you still don't mind us being 5 minutes late, everybody. Well, 10 minutes late. Well, maybe almost 15 minutes late. It's okay though. We're here. We're back. We're here to talk in your ears. I'm Slacker Kite. When I'm awake, I hit the buttons. And with me, of course, as always, we have our returning champions, the best of the best, the primo news people to fill your ear holes. First, you know her, you love her, it's Lady Marilyn! Woo! Marilyn, are you there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm a derp and was hitting the wrong button. I also forgot today was Monday because it's technically my Thursday. So, we need to get you on prescription sedatives and root canals more often because holy crap, that intro, bro.
I'm glad it worked out for everyone. And of course, our news boy who knows everything about the world of sports, it's Bronica Wonderboy.
There is only one splort, and that splort is baseball. That is it. All else fall by the... No, I take that back. Pro wrestling is still really cool. How is everyone doing? I have Baseball Season 4 started today. My life has no meaning because the Dolly were in first place. Now they are not in first place. Fuck Seattle. Anyway, coming in hot. No, it's been, I don't know, it's been a fun week. I'm glad that baseball is back. I'm glad that the weekend that I had where I watched way too much wrestling for anyone's good is over. And I'm happy to be back on this show with my lovely Dead Sun friends.
Yeah, it's always good to be back, right? Yeah, most of the time, usually.
Most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I'd say.
Yeah, I am absolutely not placing my Blazeball bets while we're sitting here at all. That's it's not a thing that's currently going on, so you know.
Sure.
Hey, you know, you missed like 120 of the shots. You something.
Exactly. That's why you bet 60 coins on the firefighters to win right now.
Well, I mean, I don't got 60 coins to bet right now, but if I did...
We're already letting the baseball minutes seep into, like, more of the show than we need to.
Well, I can't say I've been up to much of anything else, so, you know, I don't know what else to do, really, other than, you know, that. But how you guys been? What you've been up to? Brian, how about you? Have you been up to anything?
Well, it's fitting that we are going to have multiple topics to talk about coming out of the DC fandom this week, because I played a game that is not in the DC fandom. A game that is along those lines, though. Has anyone ever heard of this little ragtag crew called the Avengers?
No, that's a new group to me. I don't think I've heard of them. They must be on an indie label or something, right?
Captain USA, Dark Spider, Green Man. Never heard of these fine fellows?
Can't say I have. Hi, John Pie. How you doing?
Well, let me tell you about the journey of the Avengers. So okay, yeah. So the last week of the beta for Marvel's Avengers was this past weekend, ahead of its release in September, and I got to play a little bit over the last 2 weekends, in the beta, and I teased it last week, and I can confirm it a little bit more this week. That game feels a lot like Anthem.
Mm,
I will say there it's not all around a bad game.
right.
Let me put that up front right now. It looks good. A number of the characters feel really good to play. I would say Miss Marvel and Black Widow being the two that I found the most fun. Oddly enough, they're the two that are the most comparable to the Interceptor class in Anthem, which is the class that I played exclusively in that game. So the comparisons just keep going. But the story in and of itself, like this, like you don't get a lot of the story in the beta. You get enough, and it seems like they're well, and it's a simple enough story to tell that they're doing, and I'm curious to see what else they do with it. Um, and like the kind of hub world is a little bit better. It's not as sprawling, at least from what we've been able to see in the beta so far. So it's much more streamlined in that way. The voice acting is pretty good for the most part in those scenes, and the story missions themselves, when you're just playing by yourself, the structured story missions are pretty fun, and pretty engaging. Even whenever you're playing as like the Hulk, which has probably the most, I don't know, the Hulk's moveset was a little bit, well, not a little bit. It got very repetitive. But most of the characters' movesets get very repetitive. That being said, moving away from the story stuff, if you go into their matchmaking missions and the missions where you're matching up with other players to complete battles and stuff like that, that's where things start to drag for me.
Ugh.
So basically, I did a few of those missions, and really it just felt one. It took a while to matchmake, but I mean it's a beta. The player pool is smaller. That's fine. That's excusable. Whatever. It's fine. Whenever you're selecting though, it's basically one person can play one character. We've already known this about the game. So like if you wanted to play Miss Marvel, somebody chose Miss Marvel before you, shit out of luck.
Right.
But once you get into the missions, most of the settings are very like pedestrian, I would say. It's very much like we're going to drop you off in this like typical representation of Siberia. There's like snow and some forests and some stuff, and run through to this waypoint that you have. But also there's stuff on the way to the waypoint that you can stop at to get like supplies and stuff to build your armor up, build your power number up, and stuff like that. Very Destiny and Anthem in that way as well. But they don't mark those areas very well. So, like for instance, first mission I jumped into in the matchmaking mode, I jumped in there. It was just me and another person playing as Hulk. We got in there. I immediately start running towards the waypoint. Person playing Hulk just runs off and like follows along for a little bit, but then stops and goes off in a different direction. Clearly, they know where they're going. They know there's something else going on over here, but I don't recognize that until I get to the waypoint and realize that I need to have my other dude there to help out because I'm not really doing anything. So I run back to him, before I get there, actually, I start to look around for him. There's no icon. There's no like icon on the HUD to show you where your teammates are in the world. The only way that I found out that I had completely run like 300 meters away from my teammate was that he got downed and needed reviving, and I was 300 meters away and did not make it, obviously. But he popped back in. You pop back in fairly quickly if you do end up dying. It's not like a permanent, like you're kicked from the mission or anything.
Okay.
So there is respawn there, but that was really frustrating to know that I don't really have my bearings around with my teammates in these very wide open, vast areas. So that was immensely frustrating. And then you get back there, and like these missions are very much just like, here's a group of people, fight them, and then get some stuff. Then run to this next little shed, fight them, get some stuff. Go to this other shed, fight them, get some stuff. Then you eventually get to the waypoint, you fight them, you get your thing, you get your like MacGuffin for the mission, and then you fight them again. Strict, boilerplate stuff, but also stuff that feels like it would get very, very repetitive, without a ton of like imaginative mission structure in that way. And I from what I played of the beta, I don't know how much they really branch off into that. And I know that some of the differentiation comes from how you pair different heroes together. They do have moves in the game where you have like team up moves between unique characters, and that's cool to get those off. But for the most part, like a ton of the characters really play similarly. They feel similar, like in a way that I really wasn't expecting. Like Thor and Iron Man, like outside of Iron Man's flying, and some of his more ranged attacks, they really feel similar in how you fight. Same for Captain America. There are like little differences here and there, but not enough to really make me feel like they're like completely different characters. The only two that really break away, from in a good way. Well, I guess three, because Hulk is different, but Hulk is very repetitive. It's Black Widow and Miss Marvel. I played almost exclusively as Miss Marvel throughout most of this where I could, because like I just really like the character, and I think that her move set and her fighting style is better attuned for how I like to play these kind of games. But like playing the beta, like it was fun for a while, but like it was already starting to feel repetitive, just in the beta. So I'm curious if the story really delivers on what they're trying to do. If they maybe that is something to draw you into it, but those matchmaking missions did not really leave a good taste in my mouth. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but from what I've seen so far, like I don't know how far this is really going to be supported into the future. I know that they are like, there's been some data mining of the beta to like kind of look at the characters they're looking at introducing so far in season 1 of this thing, and it's a lot. There's a lot of characters that they might potentially be bringing to this game based off of the data mining. So maybe that's the draw. You keep introducing characters over and over to keep people coming back and playing as different characters and trying to do it in that way. It's possible, but right now it just feels rather bland, personally.
Graves mentions an interesting point. So if this game didn't have the Avengers in it, would you even care about this game?
Probably not. I mean, the draw of this thing is like they crafted each character to play like it's like you're playing that superhero. The whole thing about this thing is like teaming up as the Avengers to take on this mega corp that is like, blah 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 or whatever,
Yeah.
And if you weren't like putting people like, here, play as Iron Man, like I don't like this wouldn't be scratching an itch at all right now.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds kind of bland, to be honest, and you're not the first one to say. It was like, it's a video game. I can play it. It's not the best thing I've ever played, though.
I get a big hand, and I hit people with the big hand. It's fun.
Yeah, which
also I do have a little bit of a problem with them basically making Miss Marvel just all of her dialogue is just giant fangirly stuff about like the Avengers and how like, oh, this is Captain America's original shield. This is so cool. My friends will never believe me that I saw it. Blah blah blah. I'm just like, oh my god, it gets insufferable at points. But I love Kamala Khan as a character, and I really hope that she is better served as the story progresses. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hold out my opinion until the full game releases, but considering, it's 3 weeks till it comes out, I don't have high hopes for this game. Which sucks, because the Avengers is a huge name right now.
True, and I think it's going to sell numbers because of that name, but I just don't know how much of their player base they're going to retain over an extended period. Like, I'd be curious to see what the player count looks like 6 months down the line. Even with the new characters coming on.
Merwin, how you been? What you been up to?
I'm okay. I've just been working a lot, and my brain is kind of melting. And yeah, and about the whole Avengers thing. Honestly, when it was first announced, I was super excited. And the more I've heard, I just no, I'll pass. Just no interest anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been working and sleeping a lot, and I haven't really haven't touched a video game, I don't think, in a little while, other than our Friday night Fall Guys we had last week, which was a lot of fun. Hey, Kelvin, how you doing?
Always fun.
Yeah, we may try to work some more into it. Next week, of course, we'll have an episode of Thought W for you guys. We may move around the schedule. We were supposed to talk about that before the stream, and yeah. Anyway,
I forgot it was Monday, so yeah.
We'll get you guys some news on that once everything is smashed together. But shall we just drop into the news since, you know, we're already at half hour into our 2-hour time slot?
Let's get it.
Let's fucking go. Let's see what I haven't actually checked to make sure that I have the right page pulled up when I go to the OBS screen. So let's see what we get.
So.
Oh no, it's that is definitely the incorrect screen to show.
What's up, OBS?
Yeah, so
Stream into the infinite.
Mm-hmm. Just all the way down. Let's go into that screen. And why isn't my video capture capturing anything? Okay. I do not know why you're not seeing my lovely face, but it ain't there. My HD webcam, I promise, is on. Oh, wait, there it goes. What took you so long, buddy? Where you been? I missed you. Oh, happy Monday.
Spread.
Yeah, it spread apparently into OBS itself. That's cool. I seem to be missing the little thing around my face here, but hi, whatever, we're actually going. But yeah, if you want to know what changes we'll make to the schedule, you could be the first to know because we'll put it in the announcements in the Dead Sun Entertainment chat room once we know what we actually want to do. Anyway, Nintendo Indie World took place last week, and it was surprisingly way cooler than I thought it had any chance to be. I mean, it started off pandering directly to me, giving us the launch trailer for Hades. How old am I? Old as fuck. You don't need to know. Anyway, Hades is coming to the Switch this fall. We don't have an exact date from Supergiant, but when the game leaves early access, it will be debuting on Switch as well as PC once it hits. And we got this delightful animated cutscene of our boy trying to escape hell and fighting his way, and it's so good, and it makes me happy, and you can move your save from PC to Switch at launch day or whenever the hell you want to. So that's great, and I'll be buying Hades all over again. I already own it once, but I bought it on a discount, so whatever. Oh no, I have to pay more money for the game that I spent 200 hours on so far. But yeah,
Sounds like the worst.
super pretty and exciting. Hypnospace Outlaw. This is just a cool game regardless. It's
Yes.
basically like the late 90s, but it continued to always be the late 90s, and it's VR but not, and you go around and you keep an eye out for viruses and shit and all that good stuff.
Yeah, this was actually one of my favorite games of last year. I really like this. It's fun. It's like a nice little trip down memory lane with some interesting artwork and interesting music, and it's just all around a good thing. It's coming to Switch. Previously, it was only on PC, and also I believe the release is coinciding with some new content for it as well being dropped. According to the developers, a significant amount of new
Nice.
content being dropped for it. So yeah, curious to jump back into Hypnospace.
Yeah, and that is going live on the 27th. A lot of this was like coming up way sooner than you may have expected.
Including my highlight of this, Spirit Fair.
Yeah, it's already out.
Yes, they shadow dropped it alongside the indie showcase. And this game, I'll talk more about this game next week. But I absolutely adored this game. I love it to death.
Yeah, we won't go into a whole lot of detail here. It's kind of a management sort of game from what I understand of it, and it looks cute as fuck. So it's all like you see here.
Yes, it is that, and it's also very poignant in that you're basically ferrying people to the afterlife.
Nice. Yeah, that goes along well. There seems to be a little bit of a theme going on with all of their trailers today. Let's see. You got Garden Story, not a huge lot there. I was never. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Garden Story. I just got to shout out because that's Rose City Games. That's local to Portland here. That team is great. I love them to death. Shout out hometown team. And Garden Story just looks cute as hell. So
cool. I know a lot of people will be excited for Subnautica is coming to the Switch. I never got into it, but it is kind of a darling for a lot of people. So, hey, that is hitting in early 2021 for you. Let's see. Raji actually looked really cool.
Strap in, folks.
It's just a really fucking pretty game whenever we pass this little advertisement what is happening here. But yeah, just everything about it looked really pretty. Great aesthetic. It's very Prince of Persia-y looking to me, with how you get around and traverse and shit.
Yeah, and it's cool to see, an Indian dev with a game that is like steeped in Indian history, get some representation on this showcase and have this game come out. Like, I'm curious to try this one out.
Yeah, I mean, you get so used to, okay, here's European, American, and Japanese history, and those are your histories that you get in video games. So, seeing different people actually getting a chance to show their own history, and this, is their history, right, from the development head, Nodding Heads Games. That's pretty fucking cool, I say. Bear and Breakfast just looked adorable as hell. It's a bear that runs in, and you have to travel around to get the things to help you run your bed and breakfast. Pretty straightforward idea, but real pretty. The game that I was most excited for doesn't seem to have a trailer on this direct page, but Card Shark, coming from the people that brought you Reigns and published by Devolver Digital, has you. It looks like an 1800-ish game where you go around cheating at cards to go around and make your money, and there's big consequences if you get caught cheating. That looks amazing.
That sounds dope.
Yeah. It's a 2021 release, so we'll definitely be hearing more about it, I am sure, next year. Devolver, of course, has been hitting it out of the fucking park lately, and we'll talk more about Fall Guy, because everyone's talking about it. Yeah, Graves, A Short Hike sounded pretty good. It didn't have anything that really caught my eye to it, but it sounded fine. It just didn't really have anything that hit my eye and went, wow, talk about this and pay attention to it. And I guess whoever wrote this article in IGN didn't either. It's making a jump to consoles today. Okay.
Well, the game, I that's a game that's been on my playlist for a little while. I ended up picking up in the Black Lives Matter bundle on itch.io, so I'm gonna end up. I need to get around to that. I haven't touched that bundle in a while. I need to get back to that stuff.
Yeah, my playlist of things that I have that I need to touch is extending into the infinite at this point, it feels like. And it doesn't help that Control AWE comes out this Thursday, so my weekend's already talked for. Torchlight 3 is coming to the Switch. Torchlight, their fan base is always ravenous for another Torchlight, so that's going to be fairly big for the Switch. You had Manifold Garden, already came out as a first-person puzzler. Yet again, there seems to be a theme here, but a lot of these are just, the visuals are jaw-dropping. I don't know if Manifold Garden really speaks to me that much, but the aesthetics of it are really pleasing.
I'm a huge fan of, like, puzzle games. Like, I've been working through the Room series on my phone, so, like, yes,
Yeah.
gimme.
Actually, this does seem like a Morrowind game now that I think about it. I know how much you love your puzzle rooms, and since this is, working with the way you see the world and stuff, it kind of has a lot to do with, that one game that you played on your stream?
Superliminal.
Superliminal, yeah. If that reminds me of anything, it's that.
I like puzzle games just because, like, I don't feel like this huge pressure to rush it. It lets me take my time and appreciate it a bit more.
Yeah, and this game definitely seems like the type to that wants you to take a look around and really get the feeling for it. It's, the game looks like a painting, and that's cool as hell. We had Evergate coming out. Let's see, Stone Lantern Games. That's right. It's yet another puzzle platformer, but hey, looks neat. Yet again, I think it's more visually interesting to me than it looks play interesting. I could be entirely wrong. But it has a really nice visual aesthetic to it. It's very wavy, I guess is the best thing I can really say for it.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah, it is 100% adorbs. But the real show stealer for this presentation, Untitled Goose Game is coming to the Switch, and I already knew that. But they are patching both the PC and this version to give you a 2-player Goose Game experiment with some new missions as well, so you and your friend can go around terrorizing the citizens of the sleepy British countryside.
Yes.
Double
the
honk.
honking. The honking is at hand.
Yes. It should be noted it's only local multiplayer, no online matchmaking. So
Awesome.
it's couch co-op only.
Doesn't Steam though have that thing so you can technically play couch co-op remotely?
They do. I don't know if Goose Game is one of the games that utilizes it, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me seeing, the strength and how many people love Untitled Goose Game. If Steam can get this couch co-op in 2 places, then, I mean, that's an obvious knockout of the park.
Here's the thing. On Steam, Untitled Goose Game is not available till September 23rd.
Oh, yeah, but it'll be out then. I mean, I got mine on Epic, clearly, but... Still, it's there if you want it. You can get it at some point, maybe. But there you go. That was the Nintendo Indie World in a short nutshell.
Yeah, I mean the only other notable one that we didn't talk about yet was that Grindstone is coming to the Switch. Which Grindstone, the only reason why that's really notable is that was really the most popular, most talked about game coming out of Apple Arcade whenever it launched late last year. So that game had been exclusive to Apple Arcade up until now, I guess. So yeah.
I tried to look up Grindstone and it automatically went to talking about Minecraft. So
Yeah.
I guess,
Unsurprising.
yeah, I don't really know a whole lot about it. Well, I mean, That's the way to sell you automatically. Look at that splash screen.
Yeah, it's got some character.
Gotta love those magenta nips. Anyway. Also coming out last week, not hitting Nintendo Switch, but your PC and Xboxing, if you're so inclined. Battletoads came out, and the reviews are fairly positive. It sounds like a fun game that is kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, but by design. It's a game where, half of the time you're brawling, but half the time you're hitting Mario Party-like mini games, and you may be, racing games. You may be even hitting up a music game. It just depends upon where you are in the game, how you're going to play it. From what I've been told, the writing mostly hits. There's a few jokes where you're kind of going, especially early on, where they're making fun of the fact that Battletoads has been kind of missing for the last 20 years. And some people don't really care a whole lot for the new aesthetic of the new Battletoads game, but it's a nice big cartoony thing that the aesthetic allows for it, I think, to traverse through all the different play styles you may hit up. I'm definitely going to plan to look into this myself at some point, so I'm trying to avoid any big major spoilers. I know the brawling doesn't have a whole lot of huge depth to it, but I don't think it needed to have a huge amount of depth in the first place. If the game goes through as many style changes as it sounds like it does, I'm not terribly sad.
So at your suggestion, actually, a couple of days ago, I had the opportunity to check out a streamer by the name of Highlander VO. And one, amazing Scottish person. Two, he was playing Battletoads. And the only thing I will say, by way of gameplay, even if you are an absolute god at the original, do not start yourself off on Battletoads difficulty. You will hate life by the second stage.
That don't surprise me. Battletoads the original is one of those games the first stage is fine, and afterwards it is a vertical climb in difficulty.
The second stage is painful. After that, it's not so bad. The little mini games, they do exist. They make sense. Hey, here's a puzzle. Unlock this door. Hey, here's a hacking mini game so you can get past this other locked door. So it fits in context. And from what I'm seeing, I have no experience with the original. From what I've seen, this game is freaking amazing and made for masochists.
Yeah, I mean, the original game had kind of a bonkers style to it. The aesthetics were all over the place and very much 90s in explosive style. They really wanted to take advantage of that TMNT craze and kick it to 12. Which is also part of why it didn't really take off, because it was a bit much. But I could definitely see going now in retrospect and playing off of that whole thing they were trying with this. I can definitely see that being enjoyable, so I'm going to get around to this eventually, and hell, I may play it a bit tomorrow, we'll see, but expect to hear me saying more about this and probably Control next week. Thank you, Brain.
I will say we both did come to the agreement that all of your enemies in this look like Ren and Stimpy rejects.
Not entirely wrong.
That's a thing. But from what I understand, the humor the dialogue, everything, it's very, very, very true to the original. Just cringy and facepalmy in all the best ways.
I'm good with cringy and facepalmy, so hell yeah, let's go for it. My only problem, I don't see any spandex BDSM queens in this game, so taking points off until I see that.
Give it time.
All right, are we ready to drop into talking about the fandom from last week?
So many domes. God.
Show you a dome. Anyway.
Whoa! All right.
Jeebus.
We'll have to talk about your partner anyway. Gotham Knights gameplay dropped during the DC fandom last week. Probably the big one for a lot of people. Basically, from what I guess we know so far, Batman is kind of out of commission, so several of the Batman standbys now are taking the lead. Your Red Hood, your Robin, your Batgirl, Nightwing I think is also here. I think that was the four that they showed so far. Don't really know if it's just those four yet. You can play 2-player co-op, from as I understand it, and each one of the four plays very differently. You know, you're talking about one is just arms akimbo, guns blazing, and then Batgirl seems more classical Batman combat style. And you know, it's basically what you would expect from playing these characters. And it just kind of looks and feels good.
You said Nightwing, I'm in. End of story.
Yeah, I'm entirely for it, and I believe, am I wrong? Is this taking place in the Arkham universe, or am I crazy on that one?
I'm not. It's not explicitly stated. I would assume it is because you know, even the other non Rocksteady Batman game, Arkham Origins, is still in the Arkham universe there. So I would think so. Which is interesting because the other major game that was announced also is taking place in that universe.
Oh yeah.
So, and that one was explicitly stated.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But if it is, I'm curious where the Batman is.
Kelvin, you like the shiny dome? Come on, buddy.
I mean, him being out of the picture kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, and it's a cool idea taking that like Arkham style open world aesthetic and applying it to entirely new and different ways of technically being Batman while not being Batman. It seemed like the whole, honestly, fandom thing seemed very Batman forward, which I'm fine with. It felt a little light on the Superman, other than a few hit pieces here and there. But actually, speaking of Superman, really the biggest part that showed of him was the Suicide Squad trailer that launched from the people that basically brought you the Arkham Batman series originally. They're producing a great big Suicide Squad game, 4 characters that you can play as. And if you are not playing online, those other characters will be bot controlled, but when you are playing, regardless, you're one of these 4 anti-heroes, and you know, it's a team squad beat 'em up from the looks of it.
Yeah, and like I think the character choices are pretty spot on. Obviously based off of the Suicide Squad films, I guess film, but
Yeah.
upcoming sequel as well. No, I mean the game looks good. It's Rocksteady. They have a pedigree when it comes to this sort of stuff. I'm curious to see how they handle online multiplayer, considering that they haven't really implemented any of that into their previous Arkham games. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out and how that all kind of plays with each other. I wonder if they're going to introduce more characters than just these four, because Suicide Squad, is known for its litany of characters that have been members of the crew at some point throughout its run. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are additional characters that need to be unlocked, or they're like DLC, or possibly even added on before the game launches in 2022. But yeah, like the trailer's fun. I mean, any trailer that has bombs over Baghdad in it, you're gonna win me over immediately. They actually did Captain Boomerang correctly, which makes me feel good. And yeah, I'm curious to see more about the game itself. I don't know if I feel weird about always saying Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, since that is the full title of the game. That's just odd, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious. Like, why is Superman vaporizing people?
Yeah, they did give you more questions and answers in the trailer, but I'm fine with that. The trailer was definitely more to set up. Here are the dynamic personalities we're playing with, and okay, let me ask this question sincerely. Of the four of them, the one that I understand the least for how useful they'll be is I don't really get the appeal of playing as Harley Quinn. She's very fast, and she has a bat. That kind of seems like her whole shebang-a-bang. Meanwhile, one of them can shoot anything perfectly, and one of them is literally a giant fucking shark that can just beat the shit out of all the stuff, and I guess one is Captain Boomerang, so they're not all winners, but I don't know if I get Harley Quinn.
Calling Captain Boomerang not a winner? Fuck your shit.
Literally the last thing they show is a boomerang bouncing off of Superman's head.
This is fucking Superman, of course. Captain Boomerang is awesome. I don't know. I'm pretty sure each character is gonna have a different play style. It feels like, and that was the same promise we had with Avengers, and see how I've felt about how they executed that so far. So we'll see if that actually translates. But I mean, Harley is good for if you want quick melee. Also, a lot of variations on explosives with her as well. So a lot of AOE stuff is probably going to be implemented into her moveset. Yeah, you can make a case for playing as Harley, I think.
Okay, I mean, I guess I've never truly understood Harley Quinn as a character myself, so that might be me coming into my own pre-prejudice here.
Well, it's probably because most of the time it's just simply hypersexualization.
Yeah.
That sells her, which is frustrating because she's so much more of a character of depth than just booty shorts. It's frustrating.
And I mean, sometimes you have a day, and the only thing that's going to make you feel better is beating the ever-loving hell out of something with a bat.
Fair.
And it's not socially acceptable to do that.
I will give at least this. I do believe it was Tara Strong reprising her role for Harley Quinn, so, points for that.
I mean,
Perfect.
who else is going to voice Harley Quinn? Come on.
Totally fair. So, at the very least, the character sounds amazing, so I'm for that. Maybe it'll finally be a Harley Quinn in a video game I can get behind. I don't really read comic books, so all I've really got is the Suicide Squad movie, and the video games, where she never was really portrayed in the most I'm a huge badass light. It's more, you're kind of annoying, get out of my way.
Okay, you want the best representation currently for Harley Quinn right now outside of the comic books? I would say go seek out the DC Universe animated series. With Harley Quinn. That is done really well, and it really shows Harley empowered in that way. The fact that she's able to recognize that her relationship with Joker was fucking toxic as fuck and calls him out on it in a humorous way in that show points to how well people understand writing Harley Quinn now, as opposed to whenever everybody looked at them as relationship goals. Fuck that garbage.
That
Cool.
was a fantastic series.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now just a quick sideline to this whole fandom experience. It is worth mentioning that there's a lot of talk about issues with within Rocksteady, and apparently they've been very vocal. I haven't really been heavily into this whole thing. I kind of have heard a few bits and pieces of it. Brian, do you mind filling in the gaps on this story?
Yeah, so there were a number of women that either formerly worked for Rocksteady, or I think there might have been a couple that still currently work for Rocksteady. Basically, they went public with accusations of sexual harassment against people at the studio, management at the studio, and also like them permitting sexual harassment and not really doing anything about it. So there, a former scriptwriter for Rocksteady, Kim McCaskill, basically released a letter in November 2018, which she originally wrote the letter in November 2018, making these accusations against the company, against management of the company, and yeah, it's been kind of one of those things where HR kind of got in the way. They tried to stop her from making these claims against the company. They tried to stop her from talking publicly about this stuff. It ultimately led to her leaving the studio and asking for her name to be taken off of this new Suicide Squad game that's coming out. She did not want. She wanted to scrub her connection to this studio based off of her experience with this. And of course, McCaskill wasn't the only one to speak out, but she's been the major name out there in the wake of all of this. And of course, that spawned Rocksteady to release not one, not two, but 3 different statements in response to this. The first statement was, let me see if I can find this here. This was released via Twitter. Where a number of people that are currently working for the studio, let's see, sorry, I'm trying to make sure that I have this correct before I go off spouting here. Basically, they released a letter that was signed by reportedly 7 of the 8 original people who signed the original letter that still work at Rocksteady, saying that basically the situation at Rocksteady is not the same as it was in 2018, that it has gotten better. Let me see if I can find the direct quote here. Let's see. Okay, this is from the gamesindustry.com article here. They say that the Rocksteady team leaders had a series of meetings with the women there to address their issues and have since continued working, quote, to ensure that we have a voice within our work and within the studio. Basically, they said this has left us feeling that we have been violated by the source or sources, as it was kept private for personal reasons to all involved, not due to industry secrecy. So they're taking some issues with the letter from 2018 that was released, and then let's see if I can find. I'm having trouble finding the second statement, but I do have the third statement here from them. They released the third statement, basically saying. This is from the studio directly. They are saying that they received the letter in 2018. Sorry, there's just a whole bunch to jumble here. See, just as in their initial response and their follow-up statement, the studio defended itself in response to the initial communication. We met with all our female staff. We listened and we dealt with the issues raised. All formal complaints were thoroughly investigated, addressed appropriately, and a number of serious measures were taken in response to the issues that were surfaced, including discipline or termination of staff. I don't know about you, but I haven't really heard many reports about termination of staff from Rocksteady in the past couple of years. But it's a private company. You don't necessarily have to disclose that stuff. But normally, a studio that has the profile that Rocksteady does, you would hear about people in management likely leaving. Yeah, so it's just there's two different sides to the story here. Rocksteady is saying that stuff, they saw those concerns and addressed them, McCaskill is still pointing out that her experiences kind of makes her feel that um, that might just be lip service in some way, especially considering her dealings with HR.
Mm.
So yeah, this is all still kind of a developing thing to really get to the bottom of it. But basically, McCaskill is asserting that she believes the company pushed her out
Mm.
because of the letter. Her quote: "They quite clearly told me they could no longer afford me and replace me with a writer within the month. Everyone knew what had happened, and I think it did deter women from coming forward." So yeah, there's definitely still some questions to be answered. I feel like, and Rocksteady is just very blanketly like multiple statements, just saying we talked to the women that still work here, and they seem okay. See, they signed this letter that is here and saying that it's okay now. It's really hard to trust studios like this, and especially considering that Rocksteady hasn't really had a lot of talk about their internal workings
Mm.
over the years. So it's curious. It's the same thing that a lot of the rumors started coming out about companies like Rockstar that are very secretive on purpose. Rocksteady, I don't know if they're secretive on purpose, but you just don't really hear much about the inner workings of that studio. So for the first major thing to come out about it to be something where like a woman claiming that she was silenced by HR multiple times and ultimately forced out by the company, to only have the company come back in multiple statements. Which, by the way, if you release 3 different statements basically saying the same thing, that's not the best look.
I mean,
Personally.
also, like, I don't know how many of the Rocksteady Games fans would have really heard about all of this to begin with, so it seems kind of shining a spotlight on themselves when that wasn't really there before. Like, nobody was... I didn't hear anybody talking about it until they started talking about it themselves, right?
Well, I mean, in a way, yes.
Other than
but
the
you don't...
2018 letter and
Sorry,
stuff
go
when
ahead.
it happened. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, the letter coming out, and then there was a big article in The Guardian about this. So it has gotten some press. But at the same time, like, you can't leave these things just hanging out there. Like, Rocksteady had to address this stuff. So I don't fault them at all for trying to get out there with a statement about stuff. It's just a matter of, like, these companies are out for self-preservation. It does not surprise me at all that McCaskill is alleging that HR tried to block her from speaking about what was going on multiple times in that way. It really doesn't, because HR is there for the company. It's not for
HR
they're
is
for the
there
employees.
really to try to smooth things over and keep the company going, is kind of their largest reason to exist.
Exactly. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I don't necessarily know if you can take Rocksteady at face value with what they're saying because of how they're saying it, and also because there are still people that are vocal out there about this. So I don't know. There's still a lot of questions to be answered about this, and I don't know if we'll ever really get definitive ones about it. But it's just something to take in the stock, especially whenever it's a studio that you haven't really heard much about what happens internally. To have this be the first thing that comes out about it, like, it makes you wonder, like, how should we be looking into the culture of the studio that's been really running strong for close to a decade now, based solely off of the Arkham series.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, all of this kind of coming together, it's kind of the interesting thing that, so 7 out of the 10 people, they say, have signed to this new letter that things are better at Rocksteady than they were 2 years ago. But, this is Rocksteady saying that those people said it, and that they didn't really these people didn't want to talk about it because, it's kind of embarrassing for them, which is an understandable thing. So on the one hand, you really don't want to have to pry too hard and ask these people, please tell me about this personal and humiliating thing for you within the company that you still and currently work for. I don't know if there is a positive to come out of all of this. It just, like, the whole situation, from what I have seen and heard, sounds sketchy. That's really the only word I have for it. Just every single part of it is very sketchy and awkward. But I guess that's the way these situations kind of go. Like, this should have never happened in the first place if it took 10 people to come together and get you to change the way your company was working. Like, one person should be enough, much less 10. And if one person feels like they were forced out of your company, now, I mean, that is allegations from the one person that Rocksteady denies that they forced her out. Okay. But then again, it is yet again a company talking and referencing to their HR, which yet again, we have read multiple reports here on the show. HR is not normally, in most companies, geared towards really being an asset of the workers, but really an asset to keep the company working smoothly. Now, that is not to say that every HR department is bad, or that HR, even the people in HR, may mean well. But at the end of the day, HR knows who signs their checks, and HR is going to try to do the best for their company. So it's, the whole situation sounds and feels gross, but if I don't hear any further, the best I can do is the benefit of the doubt across the board for everybody involved. This one person must have had a very horrible time at Rocksteady, and that sucks and is very bad, and 9 other people had a bad time at Rocksteady, but I could also understand the statement that 6 of those people feel like things have gotten better and don't really want to talk about it in public.
Okay, I think I'm back.
Welcome back.
Sorry, my internet has been terrible the past 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on with it. No, but I caught the last end of your stuff. Yes, obviously, like, if people don't want to talk about it, that's their prerogative. That's their right. These things can be hard to talk about. But it just makes me, it does prick up my ears a little bit and be like, what actually is being done?
Yeah, I don't think this is something that, like, is a showstopper and I'm not going to play Suicide Squad or something along those lines. It just kind of leaves me with a gross feeling, just across the board, flat line, just, I don't know, but that is me. But finishing off our fandom topic, there was more going on, and a lot of it isn't really directly video game related, but, with these things, there are going to be video game tie-ins and things along those lines, so it's worth, cleaning up a little bit here. Of course, we've already talked about the Gotham Knights announcement, and that was cool as hell. We're finally getting the Snyder Cut of Justice League. For all the complaining boys, fanboys that have wanted this, it is finally coming to you on the HBO Max, and in their defense, it definitely looks better than what we actually got.
Does it though? Because it's the same fucking movie. It's the same fucking movie with other stuff added into it that, honestly, based off of Zack Snyder's past work, and will not make this thing any better or make any more sense or anything like that. Zack Snyder is a hack. Zack Snyder is a frustrating hack who only knows how to set trailers to Hallelujah. Fuck him and fuck the Snyder Cut. I'm done with this shit. God damn it.
Yeah, and, to all the release the Snyder Cut boys out there, here's a friendly reminder that it took basically a year of reshooting and recutting in order to have a Snyder Cut that could put out there. There wasn't a Snyder Cut. Because it was mostly pre-production stuff, and, there was definitely work done, do not get me wrong, and some of that is being picked back up here, but the final product, from what I saw, was a hacked-together weird slosh fest. If this can bring any solace to that, that's fine. I couldn't give the fuck Fuck.
Yeah, like Justice League, as much as I was excited for it, it was a movie.
Hmm.
Like, meh. I couldn't tell you what happened because I can't remember if I fell asleep during it.
Um,
Look, the only evidence I need to know that this thing does not merit anything is that I saw the previous 2 DC movies that he made.
yeah,
I've seen every movie that he's made.
yeah.
They're all bad.
I didn't mind some of his earlier work so much, but like he got worse as he went on. For damn sure.
They're all bad. The only one that's even somewhat serviceable is Watchmen, and there are even parts of Watchmen that just make me cringe because knowing like his filmmaking philosophy and stuff like that, and like his thematic philosophy and stuff
Yeah,
like
like
that.
I loved The Watchmen when it first came out, but like as the years have gone by, I've kind of gotten a little bit more and more tarnished towards the movie as years have gone by. I don't know if it holds up as well as it used to, so.
Fucking Martha.
The Batman, because adding or removing the word "the" seems to be how you sell a reboot. It looks good. I know a lot of people are very Robert Pattinson's gonna kill Batman. That's what I've heard every time there's a new Batman. Every single time.
Yeah, but you've got a very historically cardboard actor who's best known for playing a sparkly vampire in that atrocity, trying to take on one of the most iconic film roles out there for nerds, and just why?
But
I mean,
Robert Pattinson definitely in the last few years has shown he's a much better actor than he was when he first came on the scene.
True, and I mean, there's no way he can be as bad as Affleck. I mean, really.
I couldn't even tell you anything about Batfleck. Like, it doesn't even, like, trigger the mind meets that he was active anymore. Like, my brain is washed out Batfleck, so... Like, was he good or bad? I don't remember, honestly. I don't think I was awake for it.
Only thing you need to know about Ben Affleck as Batman is fucking Martha.
I mean, honestly, like, I think that was part of my problem with Justice League is like, Batman is like an integral part of Justice League. He's the man with the plan. And I couldn't even point out to you at one point that Batman actually stood out.
My only real thoughts to the Batman is could you turn up the brightness like a little bit?
Yeah, folks who see this at the drive-in are screwed.
Speaking of the drive-in, by the way, are you guys going to go see Bill and Ted at the drive-in? Because I'm going to go see Bill and Ted at the drive-in.
I might. I want to see that. I don't know if I'll see it at the drive-in, but I'll definitely see it.
Like, yeah, you could rent it, but the drive-in.
Trust me, I get it. The drive-in is great. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe.
And I mean, Graves, he's been in Remembered Me, and he's going to be in Tenet. The Lighthouse, I think he was in, right?
Yes, The Lighthouse, by far his best performance in the film. So
yeah,
that movie was awesome.
And he's got one coming out with Tom Holland as well. It's direct to Netflix. I think it's in September or the end of this month.
Yeah, like I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't even like. Okay, I know we were saying earlier. I don't even think Batfleck was awful. He just wasn't good. He was fine. He just, like I said, he didn't leave a positive or negative taste in my mouth. He just left a taste. We did, of course, talk about the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League reveal. Wonder Woman 1984. Definitely entirely about that. I will definitely watch this. It's just cool.
I'm really excited about it. I loved the first one.
Mm.
And so I've been waiting so impatiently for this one to come out.
Yeah, and all the gold motifs in this and everything, it's really cool, and I'm going to watch it. And the year 1984 obviously is it's an evocative year to call up. So, yeah, gimme. It's really all I have to say about that. I'll be watching this one.
1984, you say?
Hmm.
So Wonder Woman is in Fortnite.
It wouldn't amaze me if they think to do that crossover, to be honest with you. Somebody, I promise you, at Epic Studios is already thinking about that. Hey, we just did that whole 1984 thing. Let's do a crossover with Wonder Woman. We've got the money to make that happen.
I was born in 84. 84 was a good year.
Suicide Squad, the actual, movie trailer? Yeah, just the villains, I believe, were unveiled in fandom, so cool. It sounds like it's still a long way out, right? It's like, 2012 movie?
I'm hoping it's better than the last one or their first attempt, whichever you prefer.
Anything is better than that movie.
Yeah, that movie sucked
Anything.
ass.
Look, I could spit in the air and it would be better than that movie. Sorry, I have feelings about the Suicide Squad movie. That movie was 2.5 hours of my life I will never get back. And I fucking am still salty about it years later.
Yeah, while I'm ambivalent to the Justice League, the Suicide Squad movie was shit. That was a pile of horse fodder.
I never saw it. I was talking to Playwatch about it. He goes, "Oh, you haven't seen it? Good, don't."
Agreed.
Yeah,
good advice.
Yeah, it is a waste of your time to watch it. Don't even watch it for the haha, isn't this bad? Because it's not fun even when you're trying to make fun of it.
I might have to get really drunk.
Don't. It is a waste of your time.
Okay.
Don't do it. It is not even fun in jokey joke time. Also, there was The Flash and Black Adam. Not a whole lot there, but listen, it's a The Rock vehicle for Black Adam. It'll do gangbusters. It'll do great.
I think he could do it well. I really think he could do that role well.
Yeah. I think it'll be great, and Netflix is bringing Sandman out. It's delayed, but it'll happen. There you go. That is your complete fill-up on DC fandom. Hey, we're a video game show, but you can't not talk about Fall Guys right now, because Fall Guys is currently video games. And it's coming to phones in China. I don't understand how you play Fall Guys on the phone, but, cool.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they do it, and the fact that it's a third party that's secured the rights for it kind of worries me if anything's gonna be changed or just messed right the fuck up.
Yeah, it's it's coming to you from Billy. They do a whole lot of mobile adaptations and usually do pretty good. So yeah, that'll be out in China, and honestly, if you're releasing to the Chinese market, that's really about the only way to do it. So we'll see.
I was still shocked to find out that the average Fall Guy is like 6 feet tall.
Oh yeah, they're an absolute unit.
That's so weird.
They're like 6 feet tall and an average person and a half across.
They're wide boys. What can you say? Also, there has been some scuttlebutt around the Halo delay. Actually, this update is new to me. Halo Infinite developer refuted the claim in Thurrott's report that Halo TV show is in the works at Showtime had a major impact on Infinite's development. Spokesman labeled Infinite, the TV show, as completely independent project. Rada rada rada. That doesn't really hit the part of it that I wasn't so much aware that I really cared about. While it did say that Halo TV was a significant distraction to the upcoming Halo, the part that really stood out to me from the claims that were made that were that Thurrott here had to say about Halo Infinite was that a lot of the work was sent to outside publishers or outside developers contracted for a lot of the work. And a lot of the challenge ended up being in communication between the departments. Now, of course, with any AAA game, yes, a whole lot of the small bits are going to be done by outside contractors, but it does sound like in this case a lot of the difficulties stemmed from the communication barriers between the developer and their third-party contractors. So 343 is saying that the TV show not really a whole lot of a problem. I could honestly understand that from their view. It probably took up a lot of management's time, but I doubt it took up a whole lot of the developers' time. But we're seeing more and more as the years go by. Nearly any company that develops any form of software is outsourcing a lot of their bits and pieces to third-party developers. And it's definitely cheaper, but it doesn't always promise you good results. That's about all I got on that. There's, and again, you can take this information from Thurrott with as many grains of salt as you want to. I don't really believe 343's update statement, but yeah, I would totally understand if issues with their contractors was part of the issue. Makes total sense and really adds up to the way that I have heard this game being developed.
I mean, there's probably like a kernel of truth to some of this. I mean, the Halo Infinite has seen some definite signs of issues so far in its development. Like the report here reminds us, Tim Longo, the creative director for the game, left 343 last year. Surprisingly, right after, like shortly after they had that debut trailer at E3. So yeah, like it would not surprise me at all if they're really like raising the percentage of what they're outsourcing. That obviously is a recipe for headache, especially whenever you factor in how much of that development is now taking place remotely due to COVID. Now, granted, a lot of this stuff had already been happening years ahead of 2020, but that can only go to contribute to the pains of such a situation. So, I mean, the thing was delayed for a reason, and there's even I saw somebody out there, like somebody spotted something on a screenshot or something talking about the game releasing in holiday 2021. So potentially this game could be a year away, which, the messaging has been very vague about. They just said 2021. They didn't say anything about what period of 2021 this could be coming. So like there might be some legs still to work here on this.
Yeah, it's a whole it's a whole thing, but we'll see where it goes. But hey, a new segment here at Mr. Video Games. Brian the Wonder Boy with your Blazeball Minute.
Okay, so we left off. The game was on an extended siesta. I'm very glad that we are able to do this on the day that season 4 begins, and the game is back live again. Of course, last season ended with the Hades Tigers winning. And since then, since the game went on break for 2 weeks and came back, they've added some new stuff, and they've really updated the UI there. So the betting interface is a lot better. They've added player stats so you can better get an idea of how every player performs in different categories and stuff like that. Most notably, at the end of last season, one of the decrees was for interviews, which the microphone that they used incidentally opened up a rip in space-time over the city of Los Angeles. It got sucked in, became Los Angeles, the Infinite City, and now the Los Angeles tacos are known as the Unlimited Tacos. That also caused the Wyatt Masoning. Just Google it. That's way more than a minute takes for the Wyatt Masoning to be explained. That happened. And then, of course, with the introduction of the microphone, that now has become a weather pattern, much like peanuts or a lot of birds. And it has also caused an anomaly called feedback to happen, which we saw take place earlier today, where basically one player from each team swap teams randomly in the middle of a game, and it's stuck. It's a permanent switch. So now if feedback occurs in a game where microphones are the weather condition, there's a potential for players to be swapped onto opposing teams, which is a huge development, considering that really the only time players switch teams was at the end of a season based off of blessings. So yeah, you had that stuff go into effect. I'm trying to think. There was we also had a record set earlier today. The Hawaii Fridays scored the most runs in a single game in baseball history. They scored 23 runs in a win earlier, and then we also had one of the longest baseball games in history earlier today, where the San Francisco Lovers and I believe it was the New York Millennials. Let me double check, make sure that I have that right.
Of course, during the minute, I can't pull up blazeball.com properly, but
it's okay. The New York Millennials and the San Francisco Lovers went 16 innings, tied 2-2 until New York busted it open and ended up winning the game 5-2. So games are going right now as we speak because they never end. Baseball never ends. But currently, the Hades Tigers, Chicago Firefighters, New York Millennials, and the Breckenridge Jazz Hands are leading the 4 respective divisions. And my Miami Dale, who started off with a cool 3-0, are now 4-6. So Dale, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the Canadians may have just crushed them 5-3.
Fuck the Moist Talkers.
The Wild Wings are doing
Sorry.
great, but what can you
I'm
do?
messing. Oh god, the Dale got shamed against the Moist Talkers too. Damn it.
Yep, because they had a 1-run lead and then going into the bottom of the 10th, and then the Moist Talkers turned around and pulled a 3-run homer.
Damn it. All right.
Of course,
Well,
the best thing to know is the commissioner is doing a great job.
yes, always. The commissioner's doing a great job.
That has been your Blazeball Minute. Back to video games. Vampire the Masquerade. Brian Mitsoto, which is one of the lead writers on the game, has been suddenly let go. And nobody, including Brian himself, really seemed to understand why. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, I haven't seen any real new development as to a reason given for Matsuda being let go or anything like that. I mean, and Mitsuda wasn't the only one let go in this. I'm trying to see. There was another creative lead on the game that was let go. I'll look for that real quick if y'all have any other thoughts.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot on it. It does seem kind of weird that Bloodlines 2 is coming out fairly soon. isn't it? It was like delayed till next year, right?
Yeah, it was originally slated for holiday this year. It got delayed to 2021. No period for the year announced, just 2021. And it looks like the creative director for the game, Kai Clooney, also was let go from the game. So, and apparently, the developer Hardsuit Labs, they are citing organizational changes. That's the only real report that we're getting so far from the developer. So
I call
don't
it
know.
bullshit.
Yeah, something just it feels weird about this because you don't drop your narrative designer 5 years in. Unless something really weird happened. Like, your last year is time for your narrative designer to, sit back and have a martini because most of his work's fucking done.
I mean, it makes me wonder about the state of the game right now because like this game it's been delayed multiple times. It also had a connection to Chris Avellone, before all of his gross stuff came to light and a bunch of companies cut ties with him. So like this game's been through the ringer, in terms of public scrutiny and stuff. So it makes me wonder internally like what the state of the game is. And like if there was just something completely wrong with that, or if maybe there was some other issues going on internally, coming out of the Chris Avellone stuff, or even in connection to it, that maybe made them feel like they needed a complete change in direction. It should be noted that basically a person who was appointed as a game design consultant for the game, on Alexander Madrinka, is now serving as creative director for the game.
Okay.
He previously worked on the Assassin's Creed series and Far Cry. So I don't know. Well, it's who knows at this point. We need more information out of Hardsuit or somebody there to really figure this out. But it could be any real reason.
Yeah, this
I don't
really
know.
feels like one of those we're going to hear more as the days go by sort of things. I mean, there's two ways for it to go, right? Either we're going to hear everything or nothing. That's really the only way these things go about, so...
And with hearing the everything or nothing, like, I mean, I know some companies have super strict work from home policies.
Mm.
It could have been as simple as violating one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, but like the fact that Mitsoda claims that he like was not part of the conversations that led to this, or like was basically did not know that it was happening until it happened, like that makes me wonder just about like what is going on in the minds of management there. Like, how are they really looking at this game that had a lot of fanfare and a lot of buzz coming out of E3 last year?
Mm.
And even E3 or earlier, like some of the stuff that was around what would have been E3 this year.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder about like what exactly is going on with that game, and really what like I don't know. I would not be surprised if if this gets delayed again, or if there's some kind of overhaul or something that's happening. I don't know. There's so many different ways this could go.
Wouldn't surprise me. We're going to continue down the things that have been bringing a lot of talk on Twitter, let's say, and Oculus is going to be requiring you to log into your Facebook account in order to use your Oculus starting January 1st, 2023. So all Oculus accounts will be dead by the beginning of 2023. Granted, that's a long-ass time, but people are not happy about the idea of having to log into Facebook, the company that loves to eat up all of your data in order to use their VR. Especially, Zoomers aren't exactly that big on Facebook. Just so I've heard. It's,
I don't know. Tying anything to Facebook like this just already feels gross,
Yeah, I know Facebook owns Oculus, but like, you may want to
they
keep
also-
the two things separate.
Exactly. I mean, that was the intent, but that typically tends to be the intent, I think, with a lot of Facebook purchases, at least in terms of how they verbalize it. You know, we bought them, but we want them to develop their stuff on their own. And then, of course, over the years, the influence comes in. Facebook has had increasingly more influence over the path that Oculus has taken in terms of headset development and what projects to focus on, um, in based off of the consumer base and that sort of thing. So it's unsurprising. It's frustrating. And makes me not, if I do get into VR, it makes me not want to buy an Oculus.
From experience, I highly recommend the HTC Vive. It's a really solid system. We have one here. But yeah, no, this whole Oculus thing, just no. I refuse.
Yeah, this is. I don't think they learned their lesson from when YouTube tried to, pull Google Plus into all of that and the backlash and all of the hard work Google had to do to untie the two later when the backlash was real and nobody fucking wanted the two things tied together. Yeah. Hey, let's talk about Burger King. So recently, there was Burger King paid for a advertising company to run this whole King of Stream idea, and this company, Ogilvy, don't fucking know him, but it's some marketing company. Basically, made a bot to go into multiple people's stream, and use the text to voice thing that a lot of streamers use to pay for donation messages out loud to say advertising shit for Burger King, basically spending $3 or $5 to get a advertisement for Burger King, where maybe some of these streamers didn't really want a Burger King advertisement literally built into their fucking stream now. In concept, I saw a lot of ad executives going, "Oh, this is clever." A lot of people took a whole lot of offense to that, and one of the bigger people talking about this was Ross O'Donovan, who had a lot to say about how Burger King used.
I just got a donation.
This is. His voice was definitely modified, and the gameplay that was put into what they actually showed was some Blender bullshit that they threw up that was not even real gameplay. Hey, Coop, how you doing? The whole thing just kind of fucking reeks, and if you do have a second, though, I do recommend watching Ross's video. I have never seen this man so upset with a company as he is with Burger King right now. So I guess go eat at Wendy's is what we're saying ultimately here.
And I think, if anybody knows better, correct me if I'm wrong, streamers could get punished for this, because typically if you're advertising for somebody and because the ad is coming through in a donation, it's technically a paid ad, you need to declare that.
Yeah, also it's against the terms of services for text to voice, so there could be lawsuits, rada. And Coop, know me, home burgers definitely are the best burgers, but sometimes I'm fucking lazy and I just want Five Guys delivered to me. So
Yeah, no, this is gross. And fuck Burger King and fuck Ogilvy. And also, like, good on Streamlabs are stamping down on this stuff. Or maybe not. I don't know if they put their foot down yet, but it definitely violates their terms of service. And this is just, oh god, this is all just so fucking late stage bullshit. I'm just done with it.
yeah,
I like that they're trying to be they're trying to be clever, and they're too clever for their own good. Like, this isn't cleverness. I take back calling this clever at all. This isn't clever. This is fucking trying to get advertisement, like pay $1 for advertisement to thousands of people, like potentially hundreds of thousands of people, depending on whose stream they were doing this on. Like, fuck that shit.
Graves, as far as the joke was, he was talking about how the Australian burgers are much better, And then people in this chat were joking about how there are spiders that, of course, come along with us. Oh, yeah, no. Spider burgers. Yeah, real popular here in Australia. Just get a whole huge spider. It's good protein for you. And that's what he was talking about, making fun of how Burger King burgers suck in America. I have to say, Burger King burgers used to be a whole lot better. I haven't really loved them lately. So there you go. As far as I've heard, Streamlabs is looking to make some changes to their interface to keep people from gaming this, because they don't really want to have this catch on, but there you go. Yeah, don't eat
Sadly-
Bob's Burger. Just go eat a Bob's Burger. It's fine.
I mean, sadly, this is going to catch on because now other companies went, oh shit, did they see an uptick in business because of this? Oh god, they did. We're going to have to do that too.
Well,
And I
this all-
swear to God, anybody comes into this stream and does that, I'm going to smack someone.
I mean, this falls on Streamlabs. This violates their terms of service. This falls on them to put their foot down about this, and we'll see if they do or not. I know they're saying they're looking into better ways to combat it, but at the end of the day, like, you need to, if this does happen, you need to put your foot down and be like, yo, you're violating our shit. We're like, you want to advertise? Fucking buy advertisements. Buy advertising time. Don't try and subvert the system.
Yeah,
like this.
and I'm kind of with Graves. I would never use this in the first place because I don't want somebody being able to maybe say, hey, support Hitler, Nazi, by giving a $5 donation button. So, it's not happening on Dead Sun, no matter how popular we get. Don't worry about that.
I would hope that they would have a system built into that where you could have a list of banned words that would not be read out on there. I would really hope so.
Fair. Go ahead.
Judging by my delve into Streamlabs from back in the day, no. The only way to do it is to disable messages for donations.
All right. Epic has announced the free Fortnite tournament, and you could win an evil apple skin. He looks a little bit like Slenderman with an apple on
Alright.
his head.
I mean this in a way that I hope does not ruin the definition of a term of endearment that we have adapted and really used in the quote-unquote nerd sector of the internet by now. But man, Epic Games are a bunch of dorks. Like, for real. Like, this is just some petty bullshit. Like, they are doubling down on the 1980 Fortnite stuff with this shit. Like, all you're doing is trying to publicly shame a company to curry your fan base's favor all over again. Whenever you know that none of this is going to change outside of the courts, and in the courts, you're based off of analysis that has come out since the lawsuits were filed. It's like a 50-50 shot that you're gonna get this thing overturned. Like, they are really trying to pump up the public to pressure Apple into curtailing here.
Brian, you can get a free Fortnite hat if you're a top 20,000.
I mean, they have had Microsoft sign on their side just because of the whole Unreal Engine aspect of it, saying, shit, this is going to affect our games. But yeah, you're right. It's totally a 50-50. Like, I can't wait to see the outcome of this.
Free hat.
I mean, but see, even then, like the Microsoft stuff, like that ties into the legal battle here. The legal battle, I am all for having that fight in court and seeing what comes out because, like, yes, there are some major issues with the Apple App Store, as well as the Google Play Store and some sort of stuff. And yeah, a 30% cut is a large amount of money for a small developer to give up on something like that. You know, I'm totally fine with having that fight. But every time that Epic comes out with their like trying to proliferate the hashtag free Fortnite stuff, or like the free Fortnite cup, or literally making a skin that is an evil apple with a worm coming out of its head, like I'm sorry, like you're just pushing me further and further away from wanting, like, from rooting for you in this way. Just like handle this like a fucking adult. I get that you have made your money, like your billions of dollars off of a game that, you know, it appeals to a very young audience and is very cartoony, and like you made your money off of it. That's rad. Like you made something that's good and people want it and they're paying for it. But you don't have to fight this as if you are a character in Fortnite, and that is what Epic is doing right now. Like this just feels childish. This doesn't feel like it has any real weight to it. And the more that they lean into this, the more it makes me feel like they don't think they can win this fight in the legal system. You know, especially considering that there are reports out that Apple like offered Epic a special deal before all of this happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this whole thing is gross, and I hate both of the parties involved, and I'm getting real fucking sick of late-stage capitalism. Every one of these companies can suck both my nuts. I mean, I'll definitely take your money, Apple, if you want to sponsor the show, you know, hashtag iPads forever. I don't really give a shit. But also, I do want you to know, as a private citizen, outside of the Mr. Video Game Show, go fuck yourself, and I really hope that the government splits you up into multiple companies, because really I'm sick of the fucking monopolies that Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, team kind of, you know, the five majors have over all of our ability to enjoy entertainments at home without giving and signing over all of our money and all of our identification information and all of that over to our master overlords in capitalism. Thank you. Go fuck yourself. Free Fortnite hat.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll put the latest report in the chat for everybody to read. Like, there's a lot of analyzation of emails between Tim Sweeney and Apple about like trying to like requesting better deals on stuff and better like and different things like that. And like Tim Sweeney's out there being like, no, Apple's statement is misleading. You like blah blah blah, like all this other stuff, and just like it's just a more back and forth legal he said she said stuff that like you can definitely take the like basically just there are issues on either side of this. And it's really frustrating that there was these communications going on, and now Tim Sweeney and Apple or not Apple, Tim Sweeney and Epic are basically positioning this whole thing as like the people versus Apple, as opposed to Epic versus Apple, because that's what this fucking is. It's Epic versus Apple.
Yeah, it's about all it is. It's, you know, $2 billion trillion corporations having fun. Go. When baseball comes back, go play baseball instead. It's a way better use of your time than Fortnite. Oh, I feel like today has kind of broken my spirit and will to live. Just fuck all these big companies being dickbags. I see you, Epic, and I see the fact that you have watched all of the K-pop stands out there that, you know, cause ruckuses and chaoses when their sexy boy Korean boys say something and they don't like the other thing, but children are not your tools in proxy wars.
Nope.
Hey, let's continue to be angry at the internet. Why not? Why not? Here's a great article that E3 promoted the other day. Just while I'm in full fucking sarcasm mode. E3 promoted this article, and then after the internet saw it and went, what the fuck, very swiftly said, we're very sorry for this, backpedaled, and even the original article no longer actually exists because the article was so bad. First off, hey, Here's 25 online games you can play for free on the internet that women love. Topping that list is Sudoku. You know, your online game. Sayonara Wild Hearts, your online free game. Sayonara Wild Hearts actually really, it's a good game. You should actually play it. It's good. Candy Crush! Your free online game that women love. The women adore Candy Crush. You know, hey, girls love gaming, and what do girls love more than candy? Harry Potter Wizards Unite! That's the top game for females. Animal Crossing New Horizons actually that's some dope shit. You should actually go out and play Animal Crossing's New Horizon. I can't play it because it makes me feel like I'm fucking working again, but
You're missing the two absolute bangers on this list, though.
oh, we're getting to them.
Solitaire.
Yeah. Overwatch, also a banger game. Women like it since it has a lot of female quote-unquote heroes to portray. Okay. Yeah, Solitaire, Sims 4, actually a fucking banger of a game. A little bit of a stereotype, thank you. Stardew Valley, also again a little bit of a stereotype, but it is a game that women love that, yeah, should make the list. I want to mention that Sims 4 and Stardew Valley are not free or online, but hey, whatever. Spelunky, also not free or online, but actually a really fucking good game. You should play Spelunky. Bejeweled Classic. Because diamonds are a girl's best friend. Am I right, ladies? Bang Dream Girls Band Party. It's a rhythm game from Japan that's kind of coming to America. That actually, taking a look at it, looks kind of dope. But does anyone actually know this game? Casino World? Hey, if you like spending your time on slot machine, you can play a community-driven, free-to-play slot machine, Star Chef cooking game. Cooking. Okay. Tiny Wings. This game is now a bona fide classic. Actually, I hear Tiny Wings is an okay game as well. I'm not going to be too mad about that. Heyday! It's a farming game where you can raise horses. Kim Kardashian Hollywood Adventure. It's hey, you can this was a game that existed, and don't get me wrong, was insanely popular. But yeah, just make your own Hollywood lifestyle. Kim Kardashian. It is a free game that women play online. Harvest Moon, Seeds of Memories. I actually don't know a whole lot about this entry, but Harvest Moon, also kind of a dope series, but, you know, neither online nor free. And also, you kind of, you know, pegged some people a little bit. House Flipper, neither free nor online. $17.99 on Steam. Yet again, decently good game. But again, just jabbing in for that home run. Just Dance 2020. Neither free nor online. But hey, you can dance to Old Town Road with your friends. Disney Code Illusion. Who says coding is just for males? Disney definitely doesn't. It's actually really fucking dope that Disney is putting out a game that makes children actually want to code, and that's dope as shit. But this condescending way that you are stating it can lick my chode. The Game of Life. Drawful 2. Yet again, decent game. I'm not really mad about that one. Love Letter. What? Why? And your final entry is Tetris. Yet again, Tetris, great game. And, you know, there's good stuff to get out of Tetris, but I don't really know how this is making your, like, top 25 games to recommend to people to play that are free online games when the Tetris game that's online is not free.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that I don't have a camera on me right now.
Mhm.
Because as you went through this list,
Mhm. Mhm.
I knew people would be able to actually see the rage building. Out of all of these games, do you know how many of these I've played?
How many?
6.
Okay.
Do you know how many I currently play?
None?
Yeah, absolutely none of them. I need to write to the author of this article and their boss, and I need to tear them a new one. Because this is fucking insulting. Absolutely insulting. Like, what's the next thing? Girls aren't supposed to work? Girls don't play D&D? The vast majority of these games are fucking mobile games.
Mm-hmm.
Am I not supposed to own a gaming computer? Or, like consoles? What the fuck?
I love that a lot of the quotes that they have is like from pastry chef blah blah blah. Okay, who did you like? Clearly, the lady who wrote this article, Nicole Pager, doesn't know a whole lot of video games, and that is fine. Maybe instead of just polling the people, you'd probably ask, people on Twitter, hey, if you're a lady who plays video games, could you tell me about the type of games that you play? And then she collated a list and wrote up a listicle. And I'm not mad at her, because, have to get those articles out.
But, I know women that are members of professional esports teams for, League of Legends. And, this just is also further reinforcing the whole disparity between male and female gamers. And it's really frustrating. Super frustrating.
But Sarah Bean, a book marketing manager in Rochester, Michigan, really loves Harry Potter's World Unite. And that's definitely a woman's name. So, Lindsay, the QED.
Yes. Is that game currently loaded on my phone? Yes, because it's Pokemon Go, but Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
But Pokemon Go is also on my phone. Armajet is on my phone, and that sure as hell isn't for girls, according to this.
And I definitely know that we lost a few viewers by me being a salty, fuck capitalism boy here for a minute here. But, man, if this is going to be like your job and your boss is going to ask you to make a listicle on free online games, maybe talk to women who are in esports, it can't be that hard to find them. Just, hey, I see, you are a game developer. Could you give me some of your time for a listicle that I am working on? And, I'll give you $20 for your time. Yeah, Graves, this whole article just comes across as somebody who has no touch to anything. And yet again, not mad at the lady who wrote this article. Bad articles happen all the time. It's the fact that E3 decided that they wanted to promote this particular article that kind of grinds my own gears here.
This came out after E3 would have been, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they had done it before, do you know how many women would have refunded their tickets?
Yeah, a few. Also, for what it's worth, we lost Wonder Boy, but we're basically at the end of the show, so not a big deal. And, this seems like a particular item that Lady Merwin may be, pretty good at talking about on this one, so I'm not entirely worried.
Oh, do I get to rage, or do I get to be happy now?
go ahead and rage, please. Rage all you like. You know, we're here for the experience.
Yeah, no, this is just somebody who's completely out of touch and pulled their friends who may or may not be interesting individuals, and went, "What's on your phone?" Because I mean, like Sudoku being like the number one, I can't play that game to save my life. I hate math.
Well, I love Sudoku. Great game. But you know, it's not exactly a linchpin game or anything. It's not one gamers are scrambling for. It's something dads and grandmas play mostly. Mostly, you know, in the little Sudoku books that are published basically everywhere for $3.99.
It's a waiting room game.
Hmm?
It is literally the most casual of casual gaming.
I mean, more casual than Candy Crush, Bejeweled, and Solitaire?
I mean, okay, Candy Crush? My male boss at one of my former jobs was more into that game than I have ever seen anybody into that game. Bejeweled? Yeah, I tooled around with it when it was a Flash game. So we're talking like the early, 2000s?
Yeah, I remember maybe during one of our WoW meetings playing Bejeweled while nobody was, you know, looking at me.
I mean, because there was an add-on for WoW that actually let you play Bejeweled during long-ass flights.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good way to pass the time so you don't go AFK.
Yeah.
But this is bad. Like Tiny Wings, I've seen things about it. It's adorable. You know what else fits along those lines? Any of the Alto games. They're endless runners, or in Tiny Wings' case, flyers.
Mm.
It's like Flappy Bird-ish.
So these are all strong games you'd really recommend to other women to pick up and play.
Oh yeah, wholeheartedly. I mean, Heyday, it's the next Farmville. Without that pesky Facebook integration.
Hey, better than having an Oculus and for far cheaper. All right, our last story, a little bit less cynical today. There are new reports, of course. Talks about there being a Nintendo Switch Pro have been around a lot. And it seems almost confirmed that it's going to happen at some point, that there's going to be a Switch Plus, a Switch Pro, a Switch U, whatever the fuck Nintendo decides to call their beefed up Nintendo Switch, that they inevitably will eventually come out with. It's a question of, will it be this year, next year, what have you. So there are reports coming out of VGC, Economic Daily News, etc., that factories are starting to ramp up and make parts for Nintendo that are not a part of the normal Nintendo Switch supply chain, which are beefier than previously items. So it definitely sounds like you might have a Nintendo Switch Pro coming out to you at some point in 2021. Maybe as early as the first quarter of 2021, maybe later. And hey, it wouldn't be a awful time for them, really, once every body who is able to pre-order, right, or what have you, for their PS5 or their Xbox Series X, it would make sense in timing for the Nintendo to be like, hey, so you still want to spend money on beefed up hardware? Here's our Switch Plus. And it's a very Nintendo move. What I'm saying is, expect to see this next year. Again, pinch of salt, give a little dab. But it all sounds like it makes a lot of sense given all of the hubbubaloo and the back talk and the whatnots.
It'll be interesting to see when and if this launches, if the standard Switch will get a price reduction.
Oh, I'd have to imagine.
Because then I might actually be able to afford a Switch.
I mean, the Switch Lite is already fairly cheap.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want a purely handheld console. I that TV connectivity is kind of key for me.
Fair enough. But hey, that has been your Mr. Video Games. Boy, if we had actually come on time, we would have been exactly at the 2-hour mark and done this all correctly and well. What a shame. Either way, hey, Blazeball's back up. Give it a chance to play it anyway. Hey, we can't end a Mr. Video Games, though, without declaring our Mr. Video Games of the day. Of course, Mr. Video Games, something, someone, someplace, some company, somewhere, some noun, so good, bad, awful, what have you. It is a thing that you look at and go, holy shit, that is a video game story right the fuck there. And our Mr. Video Games for August the 24th, 2020, it's Microsoft Flight Simulator. Why? Because they built the fucking monolith. If you are not aware, they got all of their data for building information out of a free online building information database, basically. And one of the buildings was incorrectly marked as being 212 stories tall. So in the middle of the Melbourne suburbs in Australia was this giant-ass citadel about a house's width and size, just flying out to the skylines, and people have adored this. OpenStreetMap was where it came from. A man who goes by Nathan Wright 120 online was the one who added the information. It does not seem like a troll on his behalf because the guy has entered a whole fucking smorgasbord of information into OpenStreetMap. So it looks like it was just a typo that happened to enter video games in the oddest way. It has been since patched, but here you are flying around Melbourne and running into the giant fucking citadel of Melbourne suburbs.
Yeah, OpenStreetMaps is kind of like the Wikipedia of Google Maps. It's crowdsourced, user contributions, and I mean, ridiculosity is bound to happen.
Yeah.
But this takes the cake, and it's beautiful.
It's so adorbs. It really is, and I'm all here for it. So,
I mean, the one gripe I have about Microsoft Flight Sim is that if you're just cruising along, not paying attention, and you come across this monolith and can't dodge it, your screen just goes black and it goes, "You've crashed."
Yeah. I mean, my problem with Microsoft Flight Sim is that it's 150 gigabytes and requires online connectivity, but, you know.
Yeah, that too. 10 DVDs. 10 if you get the physical copy.
It's a big-ass fucking game. Anyway, this has been Mr. Video Games for August the 24th, 2020. Of course, Brian's internet kind of flailed out on him, which is a shame, but hey, we'll update you as the week goes by. If we make changes to our schedule, of course, we will be keeping the history of the world. Expect for next week at whatever date we state. Currently, we're looking at keeping Tuesday, but that may change depending upon all of our schedules. Either way, we will talk about Ralph Baer and the big brown box that he and Magnavox put out that was the beginning of the home console as we know it. So exciting conversations to be had there. Of course, we talk all the time about news, politics, and all that shit that is wonderful to know on our Discord. Links to both our Twitters and our Discord down in the doobly-doo if you want to check that out. Also, a continued mad fucking prop to Blake for putting together the theme song to Mr. Video Game. It is such a fucking banger, and we love it every day. Thank you, Coop, Diablo Graves, Kelvoran, Nomi, Giant Pie, all of our listeners who came by, gave us a listen today. It is great, as always, to talk to you. I am sorry that I overslept the beginning of the show, but hey, life happens, and we do this show primarily because we love you, not for a whole lot of gain in our end. So yeah, this is our happy fun time for the week. Thank you for joining us. Lady Marilyn, any final words from you this evening?
As always, don't forget to love each other from a socially acceptable distance. Wash your damn hands, be the change you want to see in the world, and just be cool to each other.
All right. Good night, everybody, and have a pleasant tomorrow.